Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. I've been traveling some this week. I've got a case coming up for trial, and all of that has put me in the mindset of thinking through what our responsibilities are in terms of other people, in terms of our jobs, in terms of our families, in terms of our social network. What are our responsibilities and how do they weigh on us? It's interesting. We don't use so much the metaphor today that was popular in biblical times, but it's the metaphor of a yoke. A yoke was that usually piece of wood that would strap around the shoulders of an ox or even a donkey or whatever. It would be a piece of wood to which you could attach something. So an ox pulling a cart, you didn't just tie the tail of the ox onto the cart. You would tie it onto this yoke, it was called. And that became an early metaphor for what we drag around in life. Now, yesterday I talked about the Lord's train and how it's long because God will pull behind him those things in his will. But there are times where we don't walk in God's will. And that's when we're shouldering our own yoke. That's when we're having to do the pulling. And it can be heavy. The Old Testament has a passage in Deuteronomy where God announces what he will do to bless Israel when Israel walks in his blessings, but to correct or reprimand Israel when they choose to go in ungodly paths. And in Deuteronomy 28, verse 48, God says or Moses says that God will put a yoke of iron on the neck until he has broken you. In other words, wood is bad enough, but at least wood's got some give and take. A yoke of iron would just really rip into you if you were having to lug around a load. Instead, we've got an opportunity to walk in God's goodness and fullness and in his blessings. And Jesus talked about this in Matthew. Jesus was good about saying in Matthew 11:29, right in there, he says, to take my yoke upon you, learn from me. I'm gentle and lowly in heart, and you'll find rest for your souls. He says, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Why is that? When we are walking God's path, he's got the long train. He's carrying the yoke. Our responsibility is just to stay hitched to him, going in the direction he goes, so we fit under his yoke. So whatever you've got facing you today, tomorrow, this week, this month, I hope you'll do it following the Lord, letting him shoulder the responsibility and the weight. So you just get the joy of walking with him. And I've made this your video thought for today.